Zayed knew that something was wrong with Vachi the kitten. Her eye sockets were empty, so her blindness was obvious, but she also wasn't responding to noise. Indeed, Zayed came to realize that Vachi's blindness wasn't her only disability. However, she would soon undergo a complete transformation. Today, Zayed lives in Egypt with his cat Vachi, but he wasn't always Vachi's human. In fact, she used to be a stray. Her story began when she was just a kitten, hiding out and struggling to survive. I found her when she was about 2 weeks old, Zayed wrote on Reddit in January 2018. She was living on my apartment building staircase. We have a load of cats that live in it. However, there was something noticeably different about Vachi. Though Vachi was several weeks old, it seemed that she still hadn't opened her eyes. Zayed suspected she was suffering from an eye infection. I opened her eye sockets to check, but there was nothing inside, he told Love Meow. That's when I knew that she was completely blind. Unfortunately, he couldn't adopt her at the time. In fact, he already had a cat living with him, and his home situation wasn't ideal. To make matters more complicated, Vachi wasn't eating properly. Her mother stopped breastfeeding her, and she barely ate, Zayed said. The poor kitten was in danger of starvation because she couldn't find food. Zayed started feeding Vachi every day, but he had to take a break when he went on vacation. Zayed was only away for a week. However, he found a heartbreaking sight when he returned. Vachi was outside his apartment and she was in a terrible state. With no one there to feed her, she'd come close to death and didn't have the energy to move. I returned home to find her lying down on my doorstep, Zayed recalled. She was just skin and bones, looking a lot dirtier than she was before. What's more, it looked like another cat had taken its anger out in the blind, defenseless kitten. Until that point, Zayed's family were unsure about getting a new cat, he said. My family didn't need any more convincing after seeing that saddening sight, as I'd been telling them how a blind stray wouldn't be able to survive on her own and how we needed to take her in. And so Zayed began to nurse Vachi back to health. Initially, she was too weak to do anything for herself, and she had to be hand-fed. Zayed stayed with her through it all and directed her to a litter box when she needed it. In time, Vachi grew stronger, but it was at this point that Zayed realized that she had another problem. She didn't react when her name was called, nor did she respond to any noises. She didn't seem to be startled by any loud, jarring noises, Zayed said. My other cat would immediately start running away if I started the vacuum or the blender, Zayed said. Vachi gets startled super easily if someone touches her slightly. When I snapped my fingers really loudly next to her ears, she wouldn't even flinch or react in the slightest. In view of this, it gradually became clear that Vachi was deaf. Neither of her disabilities seemed to stop her from getting the best out of life, though. In fact, she might even enjoy the little things even more. The sense of touch is one of 3 senses she has left, so I'm sure she loves the sensation of being petted even more than normal cats, Zayed explained on Reddit. Indeed, she loves to greet new people. What's more, Vachi's limitations don't stop her from navigating her surroundings. According to Zayed, she got used to her new home far faster than he had anticipated. In fact, she was exploring the house with all the confidence of an able-bodied cat in no time at all. Zayed told Love Meow, the more strength she gained, the more she started exploring everywhere. She even found a few favorite sleeping spots in tight spaces around the house. All the tender, loving care did Vachi a lot of good, too. You should see her now. Vachi's grown into a beautiful calico cat with an endless supply of gratitude for her big-hearted hero. Zayed explained on Reddit that now she's in good health and a little older, he no longer needs to do anything for her. Vachi does have one unusual habit, though. The only disadvantage might be that she's a tad too loud, Zayed said. She sometimes meows for no reason, but I attribute that to her being deaf. Regardless, Vachi's human loves her all the same. It sure was some journey from barely being able to move to then being the most playful cat I've ever owned, Zayed continued. But Vachi's adventures didn't end there. In fact, she'll soon be moving into a new home with her human. No doubt she'll adapt to her surroundings quickly, though. Adopting Vachi was one of my better decisions in life. I love her so effing much now, Zayed wrote, and she's living her life as any normal cat would, and absolutely loves a good petting.